blessed moment to our fellow believers in the Messiah. Grace and peace be increased in your lives through the knowledge of the Creator of heaven and earth and of the Messiah, according as His divine power has given us all things that pertain to life and godliness. In this present moment, with hearts of thanksgiving, we acknowledge the Creator of heaven and earth for His mighty and wonderful acts that He demonstrates on a daily basis. His foolishness exceedingly supersedes the wisdom of men, and His weakness is so much stronger than men. The Creator in His wisdom has chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and has chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. He is the one who chooses and uses the base things of the world, things which are despised, and things which are of no value, so that He can bring the things that are before Him to nothing. The Almighty Creator does this so that no flesh should glory in His presence, because it is by Him and Him alone do we exist in the Messiah. Yes, the Messiah, the one who the Creator of heaven and earth has allowed to be wisdom and righteousness and sanctification and redemption unto us. Therefore, let Him that glory in the Messiah, the Son of the Creator of heaven and earth. Amen. With all humility, we continue to focus on what the Creator is doing in our time, so that, while applying ourselves to His principles and commands, we may have our testament in our time. In today's lesson, we want to discuss how to deal with conflicts. A conflict is an intense disagreement or argument between two or more persons. Conflicts normally take place when people have different interests, understanding, values, and goals in mind. If conflicts are not dealt with maturely, things can easily become physical, as in fights or wars on a large scale. If the altercation does not lead to anything physical, there can also be mental or emotional detachments between the parties involved. As believers, we are not immune to conflicts, because we are not yet in a glorified state. We are on the path to perfection. Also, we are dealing with imperfect beings that are at different levels of maturity and faith in their walk with the Messiah. We therefore have to deal with each other out of love. Let's look at some ways that we can avoid and resolve conflicts when they arise. Before we begin, however, it is important to note that conflicts must be resolved as quickly as possible, so that no place is given to the enemy to fester bitterness and division, as stated in Ephesians chapter 4, verses 26 and 27, where it says, "Be ye angry, and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath, neither give place to the devil." In Colossians chapter 3, verses 12 to 15, it states, "Put on therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering, forbearing one another, and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. And above all these things put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness. And let the peace of God rule in your hearts, to the which also ye are called in one body, and be ye thankful. So, with kindness, humility, and love in our hearts, we must be ready to forbear or put up with each other's faults. Remember, we are not yet glorified. We are on the path to perfection. People will make mistakes, so we must be ready to forgive each other, just as the Messiah forgives us when we offend Him with our sinful thoughts and actions. When conflicts arise, it is important to guard our tongue, because it is described as being a very unruly member. This is highlighted in James chapter 3, verses 8 to 10, where it states, "But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison. Therewith bless we God, even the Father, and therewith curse we men, which are made after the similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceedeth blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not so to be. Because the tongue has this damning potential, we must always remember that a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words will stir up anger. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29, likewise, encourages us to let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. As believers, we are called to a life of peace. If peace truly dwells in us, then we will make peace with each other. The Messiah said in Matthew chapter 5, verse 9, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God." We should therefore do our very best to live peaceably with all men. Finally, we are going to highlight some key verses from the book of Proverbs in relation to conflicts. Proverbs chapter 10, verse 12. Hatred stirreth up strifes, but love covereth all sins. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 10. Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well-advised is wisdom. Proverbs chapter 15, verse 18. A wrathful man stirreth up strife, but he that is slow to anger appeaseth strife. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 28. A froward man sows strife, and a whisperer separates chief friends. Proverbs chapter 17, verses 1, 9, 13, 14, 19, and 20. Better is a dry morsel, and quietness therewith, than a house full of sacrifices with strife. He that covereth a transgression seeketh love, but he that repeats a matter separates very friends. Whoso rewardeth evil for good, evil shall not depart from his house. The beginning of strife is as when one letteth out water. Therefore leave off contention, before it be meddled with. He loveth transgression that loveth strife, and he that exalteth his gate seeketh destruction. He that hath a froward heart finds no good, and he that hath a perverse tongue falls into mischief. Proverbs chapter 18, verses 18 and 19. The lot causeth contentions to cease, and parts between the mighty. A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city, and their contentions are like the bars of a castle. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 13. A foolish son is the calamity of his father, and the contentions of a wife are a continual dropping. Proverbs chapter 20, verses 3 and 20. It is an honor for a man to cease from strife, but every fool will be meddling. Say not thou, I will recompense evil, but wait on the Lord, and he shall save thee. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 10. Cast out the scorner, and contention shall go out. Yea, strife and reproach shall cease. Proverbs chapter 25, verses 8 to 10. Go not forth hastily to strive, lest thou know not what to do in the end thereof, when thy neighbor hath put thee to shame. Debate thy cause with thy neighbor himself, and discover not a secret to another, lest he that hears it put thee to shame, and thine infamy turn not away. Proverbs chapter 26, verses 17, 20, and 21. He that passes by, and meddleth with strife belonging not to him, is like one that takes a dog by the ears. Where no wood is, there the fire goeth out, so where there is no talebearer, the strife ceases. As coals are to burning coals, and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. Proverbs chapter 30, verse 33. Surely the churning of milk bringeth forth butter, and the wringing of the nose bringeth forth blood. So the forcing of wrath bringeth forth strife. In closing, as believers, let us strive to be all of one mind, having compassion one for another. Let us love as brethren. Be pitiful, be courteous, not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but on the other hand bless each other, so that in the end we can inherit a blessing. Thanks for listening. We hope that this message was a blessing to you. Remember to share it with a fellow believer and encourage them to subscribe to our channel. Have a blessed day.